Hey guys, this is Candle and welcome back to Final Fantasy II. When we last left off, we got the Crystal Rod, made our way back to Mysidia, and now it's time to head to the tower so we can get the Ultimate Tome, after we deal with these ghosts. Uh-oh, we've been paralyzed and cursed. That's not good. We'll still handle these guys no problem though. Although Furion's not looking too hot already. And Layla, what? Come on. What gives? There we go. Alright. Magic. Okay, Asuna should work. There we go. And then Cure. There we go. Good, now Cure is up to level 7. Alright. So we need to go up here to get to our ship. Uh-oh, ambushed. Deal with these flying rays and bighorns. There we go. All right. So from our ship, we just go north, pretty much. Well, that's not good. My audio is cutting in and out. I don't understand why it does that. I haven't touched anything. Yeah, we're getting sucked down into the whirlpool. Now where are we? Where's Layla? Yeah, where are we? Layla? Layla's missing. Alright. So we're in the Leviathan. In the intestines, actually. So we kind of have to go through here. There are 5 chests. If you're trying to get all the achievement for getting all the chests, make sure you get all the chests. Same for the bestiary. Encounter all the monsters before you leave the Leviathan, because this is another one-time dungeon. You cannot come back once you leave. And of course we have acid to walk through here. Stomach acid. And we've got a bolt fish. And this guy is a little bit stronger. Good. We need some stronger monsters. Alright, now we got a sea dragon and a bolt fish. Still all water-based. So Thunder would take care of these guys pretty quickly, but I'm sticking to the physical attacks for now. Got a twist headband. That might be good for Guy. Higher defense and so on. Okay, good stats. Twisted headband that guards against mental status ailments such as sleep. Alright, we'll go ahead and leave that on you then. Alright, bolt fish. Alright, not bad. So we got a power sash. What is a power sash? Does that go in the arms? No. Ah, here. Vest that enhances strength and guards against psychic status ailments such as darkness. Okay, that's not really good. Let's see. Oh, that's good for you. Replace your gold cuirass. Alright, we'll do it. That's what, already 2 or 3? I think 2 chests out of 5. So yeah, this is a relatively short dungeon. But again, it's one time only. So yeah, we're in the Leviathan. In its intestines. Now, how we passed all the way through to the intestines and now we have to fight our way back out through the mouth, I don't know. But through that sphincter. Yeah, now this is the stomach, I believe. Where there's also people through here. We're inside Leviathan's stomach. Yes, we are. Leviathan swallowed us all. We got a power armlet. There we go. That's good. You know what? I'm going to give this to, yeah, Firion. Okay, you are in my way. New arrivals, eh? So who are you? I can ask about different things. Let's say I'm here for the Ultimate Tome. Where'd you hear about that? Mysidia. I've been to Mysidia. It's a town full of mages. Alright, Wild Rose? No, you don't know anything about that. Key items? Crystal Rod. So you guys were also after the Ultimate Tome when you got swallowed up. Well, since we're looking for the same thing, we might as well team up. There's a boat up ahead, but there's also one tough monster standing in our way. Who knows? Together we might be able to take it down. The Dragoon Rickard joins the party. Oh, damn it. I should have asked him about Dragoons and Wyverns first. Actually, you know what? We might be able to do that. There we go. I thought one of those was going to make him join the party. I don't need to talk to you. I do want this chest. There we go. Power armlet. Equipped to Firion. Alright, so ask about dragoons. You look like one. As a matter of fact, I am a dragoon. What? The dragoons and the wyverns have all been destroyed? That's absurd. What about the wyverns? Wyverns? What about them? What's with you people? Yo, so yeah. Okay, so maybe you start with the Ultimate Tome, then go to Mysidia, then wyverns, then dragoons. Maybe? I don't know. But yeah, show him the crystal rod. Actually, if I show him the pendant, nothing happens. Oh. Okay. Show him the crystal rod. To get him to join. So we've got our new fourth. And this is the reason why I wanted that trident and then eventually that flame lance. Oh, he already has one. Okay. Comes with a golden shield. We could double his attack, though, with a flame lance. But his evasion drops to, like, almost 0. So I think we'll leave him as is. And he's already got... Yeah, we'll swap out the Knight's Armor for the Gold Cuirass. But other than that... that might be good. Gold Hairpin, resistant to lightning. That's what Layla was holding. Lowers his attack a little bit. It raises everything else. It improves everything else. Do I want to do that? You know what? I think we won't. We'll go without. You know, Rickard as a Dragoon is going to be another temporary party member, so there's that. We were swallowed whole. Right when Leviathan opens its mouth, there's a second where we could escape, but there's just too many monsters. So yeah, all these people got swallowed by Leviathan. Well, this is just great, isn't it? Are we supposed to live out the rest of our lives in here? Yeah, apparently. I mean, you could try to leave. That's what we're going to be doing. Leviathan is the beast that protects the seal of the tower. It looks like it swallows up anyone who has a crystal rod. See? I've got a crystal rod right here. Oh, so they're not as rare as I thought. 10 years I've been living here. There's no way out. I'm sure of it. The sooner you give up and accept it, the easier it'll be for you. I refuse to accept that. None of this would have ever happened to us if it weren't for that old man and the stupid crystal rod. Ah, so they were all on the same ship together, I would imagine? Well, either way, up this way, and now we're in the mouth. And we have to make sure we grab those chests. Alright, Sea Dragon. Oh, Rickard. And as a Dragoon, you can't even jump! That's not introduced until Final Fantasy III. Oh, that's the Dragoon's signature move. All he can do is attack. And he is like way behind everybody else. Which tells me either we're like way overpowered for this part of the game, or Rickard is just a weakling. Tsunami 8. We'll get him up to stuff soon enough, though. I don't think he has any magic, though. No, he doesn't, because I remember when we set up his attack, he could not. But he's at 7 and 4. for Spear and Shield. So yeah, Rickard doesn't have any magic spells. Alright, across here. Is it up or down do I go? I don't know, but we'll stick to straight up attacks. Need to be keep an eye on Furion. He's not looking too great. He's already down basically to a quarter of his health. Rickard is a real issue though. With a max of 549, he can only take 1 or 2 hits. Alright, it is... Oh, either up or north. Up or down. We got monsters here. With red souls. Okay, straight up attacks, no problem. There we go. Alright, so his shield level went up. And we got a diamond shield. There we go. That's a good improvement for him over the golden shield. Oh, resistant to lightning. Same stats otherwise, though. Golden shield is resistant to poison. Okay. Alright, attack. Let's have you cure everybody. There we go. Yeah, cure 7. Well, that wasn't as happy as I had hoped. Okay. There we go. Alright, let's go ahead and heal up. There we go. Okay, so we got a Gaia Blade. Better than the Wing Sword? Yes. Effective against grounded enemies. Alright. So we'll go ahead and do that. And more sea dragons get ambushed. Oh, poor Rickard. He's already down to half health. Stick him with that singular flame lance. Keep with it. There we go. Alright, here's our monster. Before we do that, though, let's heal real quick. There we go. And let's drop a quick save. Perfect. Here it is, a roundworm. Make it past this thing and we can get the hell out of here on that boat. I don't know if that's our boat or if it's a different one entirely. But we were ambushed, really? Ambushed by a boss that was standing right in front of us. Okay. Whatever. Let's start off with Blink. Let's do a... Where's my Protect? There we go. Protect. Let's do Haste, and all you can do is attack. There we go. Haste 2. Really only 80. Okay. Let's do... You have a level 1 Berserk. Let's do that. Let's do... Sure, why not? Let's do Holy. I don't think this guy has much in the way of magic attacks. Level 3 Berserk and attack. Alright, how's it do? How's it go? That's not too bad. A little under 300. But our physical attacks are way better right now. Unless your name happens to be Rickard. There we go. And not bad. No real issue there. So Furion's Blink went up, guys, Berserk went up, and Rickard's shield level went up. So he's at level 6 shield now. Good. Alright. Now we do have everything? Yes. I don't know if I met all the monsters in this playthrough because my bestiary is already done. I'm not getting trophies because I already got the platinum. So let's just go ahead and leave. Yeah, once you leave the Leviathan, you cannot return. So we're done with the Leviathan. Now it's time to climb the tower here. The Mysidian Tower. Use the crystal rod to gain entrance. Still looking for Minwoo, too. He's supposed to be here, I think. But the question is, how did he get there if he needed a crystal rod in order to get inside? The place is still sealed, too. And anybody who had a crystal rod was swallowed by the Leviathan, and he was not in there. I don't know. But we have 24 treasure chests in here. This is going to be a decent-sized dungeon. And in fact, on the first floor, we have 4 chests, including one that has no obvious entrance to it. I assume it's probably from a secret passage. Alright, Vampire Girl. So these should finally be strong enough monsters to improve our weapons a little bit. Okay, Ether can't hold any more. Maybe not. You know, the one person I need to improve their weapons is Maria. And I can't tell if she's actually improving much or not. She only gets a couple hits off. Werewolf? Werewolf. Alright. Yeah, Rickard, it's great if Rickard improves as well. He's going to be with us for a little bit. But he's eventually going to go away as well. You know, remember that 4th slot is basically a rotating party member throughout pretty much the whole game. Although I think there is only one other character, if I remember correctly. One other character we get in our 4th slot after Rickard. Aha! Okay, so we got a white robe. That might be good for my white mage instead of the power sash. White robe that enhances spirit and guards against elemental attacks and status ailments. So we'll go ahead and give you that. And you will get the power sash instead. Alright, can I go through this way? Or is it purely on the one side? I can't tell if they're actually improving or not. Okay, cannot go through that way, so it's only on this side. Alright, okay, off to the side here. Another vampire girl. Alright. Some good improvements there for Rickard. His max health is now 648. He's still well behind everybody else. But he's getting there. He's getting there eventually. Got a staff. Alright, Hill Gigas and bombs. So yes, the giant killer can take out the Hill Gigas in a single round of attacks. Alright, that's everything on this floor. Yes, up to the next one. Alright, so now this is fire-based. There's a door there, stairs there. Ooh. Okay, I think... Okay, first off, we need to go this way. Yeah, remember, this is a magic tower. I love the music in this game. It's not my favorite Final Fantasy score. It's not even my favorite one that Nobuo Uematsu did. But it's still a pretty good one. And hearing the remaster... Like, I don't think I've ever heard the original of this. Because I've never played the Famicom version. I take that back. I'm pretty sure I have heard the original. Because I had, like, the original soundtracks and stuff like that. I'm not sure. But Flame Bow, Flame Lance, okay, Maria. The Ice Bow is better, so we're sticking with that. Yeah, hearing those old school bleeps and bloops really gets me going. But the remastered soundtrack is really good too, and I was so glad that Uematsu came back to... I don't think he handled the remasters entirely himself, but he oversaw, you know, the remastering of his original score. Here we go. Bye-bye, Bighorn. Seeing them as regular enemies now. See, I think her bow is improving very, very slowly. The problem is, again, these enemies just are not that good compared to where we are in terms of power. Like, we're like way overpowered. It is so easy to overpower in this game. Although that cannot be said for the original. I know that much at least. Okay, that is an empty room. So, oh no, not that way, not that way. Yeah, I'd only ever, before playing the Pixel Remaster, which again, this isn't my first time through the Pixel Remaster, but before playing the Pixel Remaster, I'd only ever really played the PSP version, the 20th anniversary remake on the PSP. You know, as part of the 20th anniversary celebration of the franchise, they did brand new remakes of 1 and 2 on the PSP. And those would later get ported to mobile, and they've since been delisted, I believe, in favor of the Pixel remasters. In fact, all of the 2D Final Fantasy games that had been updated for mobile, you know, remade for mobile and stuff, even the ones that ended up on PC, all got delisted in favor of the Pixel remasters. They left up the 3D remakes of 3 and 4 because they're distinct versions, like completely different versions. But the remasters, or the original remakes, particularly 5 and 6, were not well received. And so they delisted them. So unless you have an old phone and they're a part of your account, or if you bought them on Steam before they got delisted, which I did happen to do, those versions of the games are basically lost to time. There's probably pirated versions floating around online somewhere, but you know, you can't officially buy them, and I doubt they will ever be re-released. You know, there's really no reason to. You know, there's something to be said for re-releasing the original NES and Super Nintendo versions of, you know, Final Fantasy 1 through 6. But it's doubtful that's ever really going to happen moving forward either, because we have the Pixel remasters. You know, there's a reason why the original Final Fantasy isn't on Nintendo Switch Online. There's a reason why Final Fantasy 4 and 6, you know, the US versions, you know, where they were called Final Fantasy 2 and 3, are not available on Nintendo Switch Online. At least I don't think Final Fantasy 3 is. It was included, you know, they were both, Final Fantasy 1 was included in the NES Classic, and Final Fantasy 6 was included in the Super Nintendo Classic. But otherwise, yeah. So Fiery Shield resistant to ice. That might be useful on the next floor. Same stats. Yeah, otherwise, there's just no point to re-releasing them from Square Enix's point of view. You know, as a collector, as a game preservationist, you know, I do feel strongly that every version should be available, readily available. You know, to me, there's no reason not to put those versions up on Nintendo Switch Online. But for Square, why would they do that when they could sell you a Pixel Remaster individually or sell you the whole collection? And it is a much better version of the game in almost every respect. You know, for all 6 of them. You know, for one thing, you know, the Pixel Remaster of 3 is the only version of that game, the only 2D version of that game, to see an official release here in the West. Because it never made it stateside. It never made it to Europe until the 3D remake in the early 2000s, you know, the mid-2000s. Alright, oh, different doors. I have no idea which one we go through. We have lava to deal with. Okay, nothing there. Okay, this probably lets you walk through. Oh no, that does not. All right. This one, that does not. Interesting. Okay, so that moved us straight up here. But we've got 3 treasure chests. But I cannot get to 2 of them from down here. Okay. So yeah, to me, there's value in having all those different versions. That's one of the reasons why, you know, I'm doing multiple versions of some of these games. You know, look on my channel, you'll see, like, 4 different versions of Myst. You know, I did the Myst Masterpiece Edition, Real Myst Masterpiece, and the Myst 2020 Remake. The only one I'm missing is Classic Myst. And then all the various console and handheld ports. You know, there's a reason why, you know, I did, you know, Final Fantasy on the PS1 right before I did Quake. You know, earlier this year. You know, just like a month ago. Despite already having done the PSP version and the Pixel Remaster in, you know, years ago. You know, to me there is value in having multiple versions because each version is distinct. There are differences in the versions. Let's go. I have a flame sword. Is that better than the Gaia blade? Yes. Alright, so we'll go ahead and put the Gaia blade down here. Now, this flame sword might not help us as much in this upcoming boss fight. But we do have the Gaia blade, so that's going to help. But yeah, again, you know, Square Enix, you know, they don't really see the value in that. Unless they can sell it. And why would you buy those old versions when you can get the Pixel Remaster? You know, maybe years down the line they might do like collections and stuff like that where you can get like older versions. Like you do see, you know, there are some game collections out there that include like multiple different versions of the same game. Like most recently the Rayman Remastered collection came out, which includes like 5 different versions of Rayman. You know, 5 unique, you know, all different versions of the original Rayman. You have things like the Mortal Kombat collection that came out a little bit ago that has like arcade ports and the arcade versions and the console versions and even handheld versions of some of those games. And so I think there is value to that. But you see them packaged together in like those special collections there, which most people aren't going to buy. Just like the collectors, the diehard fans, you know, are the ones usually that are going to buy that. Most other people aren't. And, you know, all this, you know, none of this is a knock against the Pixel Remasters. I love the Pixel Remasters. It's just that they're different in some respects. You know? Fiery Helm resistant to ice. Oh, yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. Anyways, that's a bit enough of a rant for now. Yeah, it just kind of sucks that, you know, there's dozens, if not hundreds or even thousands of games out there that are going to eventually be lost to time. You know, Final Fantasy, at least, is popular enough that it will continue to see re-releases, remasters, remakes, you know, for all the games in the future. But there's plenty of games out there that don't. And that's one of the things I do with my YouTube channel is, you know, I view it as a way to preserve some of these games. Yes, it's not as pure as a long play would be without commentary, but you're getting my thoughts of the game. It's not as good as it would be playing the game yourself either, but you're getting my thoughts of the game itself as I play through it. You're getting kind of a semblance of what it's like to play the game. All right, let's do a quick save real quick because we got a boss right here. You made good progress, but you must defeat me if you wish to continue your ascent. So this mage changes and becomes a Fire Gigas. Alright, magic. Let's do blink. Let's do protect. Let's do haste. And all you can do is attack. Right. Not too bad. Not great, but not too bad. The Fire 16 is not good either. Alright, let's have you attack. Let's have you do Shell. You do a Berserk, and then you attack as well. So that will counteract some of that magic damage. There we go. Not so good on that second hit. Alright, just straight up attacks now? There we go. Already defeated. Not a real big issue there. Alright, Maria's Protect went up, so that's good. So now it's ice-themed. And we have 2 ways up. With 3 chests. Okay. Hill Gigas and bombs. Now that ice bow is gonna hinder us a little bit, but all these flame-based weapons will really help. There we go. Got an ice shield. Not magic. Ice shield for you. Yes, resistant to... Well, it's resistant to fire. Why? Why are we getting that now? I don't know. What's up here? Okay, so this is a dead end. Okay, good. But it's a dead end with a treasure at the end. Deal with these Hill Gigases and bombs. Yeah, like, even, you know, different versions of the same game, it's a different experience every time. You know, yeah, there's a lot of different, a lot of similarities. Like, take a look at Myst. You know, it's basically the same content for every single game going back all the way to the beginning. However, each one is a slightly different experience in some way. You know, from Myst Classic to Myst Masterpiece, you had the inclusion of a map you carried around with you of, you know, Myst Island. And you also had, you know, visually, it was a higher resolution, higher color depth. But other than that, it was the exact same game. But then you went to Real Myst, where they converted everything in from being pre-rendered, you know, pre-rendered point and click, you know, basically pre-rendered pictures that you would point and click your way through, to being a real-time 3D environment you could physically walk around. But of course, it came out in the early to mid 2000s, and you know, real-time 3D technology advanced significantly in that time frame. We got Thunder, and so as a result, well, by the time they did Real Myst Masterpiece, which, by the way, Real Myst also included a brand new, you know, extra content compared to the original, a brand new age to explore in the post-game. Real Myst Masterpiece completely, you know, it redid all of the assets. It was a remake from the ground up to be, you know, up to then, the best Myst had ever looked. And it still looks really good. It came out in 2015, still looks really, really good. However, then we got the Myst 2020 remake, which was, again, rebuilt from the ground up, with still the same content, although some of the puzzles and the ways you interacted with them got redesigned again, because it was built from the ground up for virtual reality, which meant you needed a way to physically interact with things rather than just using a mouse and keyboard. And, you know, when that launched, that didn't have Rime. It does now. So that's not part of my Myst 2020 playthrough. They added Rime in a post-launch update after I did that Let's Play. So maybe at some point I might want to go back and either redo that one or add Ryman or something. But again, you have like 5 distinct versions, and again, that's to say nothing of the various different console ports. This game, Myst came out on the original PlayStation and the Sega Saturn, and various other consoles as well over the years, I think, including the DS, which is, to my mind, I don't have that version. I've never played it, but to my mind, that one is a compelling reason to play Myst again, because you have the dual screen aspect, the touch screen aspect. So I'd be very much interested in eventually picking up a copy of Myst and playing through that version of it to see what's different. And again, even Final Fantasy. The pixel remaster for Final Fantasy II is a far cry from the original Final Fantasy II on the Famicom. It doesn't look the same, it doesn't sound the same, because they updated the visuals to be contemporary. For later versions onward, they updated the visuals to be contemporary with the 16-bit trilogy, the 16-bit Final Fantasy games, 4 through 6. And then again, they remastered the music and everything. They also rebalanced the game. This version of the game is far easier, even without employing the boosters, the included boosters. This version of the game is far easier. I did get everything on this floor, right? Yeah, it's far easier than the original. And I can tell you that without having actually played the original, from, just observing and seeing what everybody else has said, of it being extremely hard, and yet this one is not. Okay, so we've got one chest here, and then probably another boss fight after that door. But even, ignoring Final Fantasy II for the moment, going back to Final Fantasy I, there are at least 5 distinct versions of that game released here in the West. You have the original on the NES, which is 8-bit, 8-bit sound, 8-bit visuals. You have the PlayStation port of the WonderSwan Color remake, which is 16-bit visuals with CD quality audio, new cutscenes, updated translation, resolution, everything. That's the version I just played, included in Final Fantasy Origins. I just played last month. Then you have the Game Boy Advance port of that, where it's the same visuals, but a brighter color palette to account for the Game Boy Advance limitations, screen limitations, a wider aspect ratio, but also a little bit of a cropped image. And a modified version of the PS1 soundtrack. You couldn't have that CD quality audio, and also no. Oh, that's not good. No. Ooh, what am I trying to say? No FMVs and stuff like that. But you had all this bonus content. You had 4 extra bonus, post game or end game bonus dungeons. There we go. Oh, that didn't wake him up? Oh, that's not how you counteract shit. That's not how you counteract confuse in this game. Most Final Fantasies, you can knock your party member out of confusion just by slapping them around a bit. But apparently not here. Alright, let's do a cure on Rickard. If you attack and you... oh shoot, I don't have anything, do I? I don't. I have Betrayal Fang, which can cast Confuse. But I don't have anything that cures confusion. Unless... either Asuna or Basuna. I'll try Asuna. There we go. But then you have the PSP version of Final Fantasy I, which, takes the Game Boy Advance version, adds in another bonus dungeon, gives it a completely new coat of paint. Oh yeah, and I forgot how the Game Boy Advance version changed the way the magic worked, too. Phoenix down. Which the PSP version, carried through. But then you got the Pixel Remaster, which, you know, goes back to basically the PS1 version, just minus the FMVs. All right, life, cure, attack. Anyways, that's enough of a rant. I need to focus on what I'm doing here because this fight is giving me some trouble. All because they managed to confuse Firion. Alright. Stupid vampire girls. I go crazy for vampires, but still. Oh, those sexy vampire ladies. I honestly have no idea where my obsession with vampires started. It's been literally for as long as I can remember, even to the point that I remember the Count on Sesame Street being my favorite character on Sesame Street. Now, he's not my favorite Muppet, but he is my favorite character on Sesame Street. Magic. I would say my favorite Muppet is probably actually Gonzo. Alright. So through here, you made good progress, but you must defeat me if you wish to continue your ascent. So we have another mage turning into an elemental Gigas. This time an Ice Gigas. Alright, so it's a good thing I just healed. Alright, blink, protect, haste, and attack, because that's all you can do, Rickard. It's all you're good for. I wonder what everybody's sprites look like in the Famicom version. I know Firion just reuses the fighter sprite from Final Fantasy 1. They had to turn the game around really quickly, so they didn't have time to do much more than that, I don't think. Berserk. Yeah, Final Fantasy 2 came out like 18 months after Final Fantasy 1. You know, they made like an entirely new game in like a year and a half. You know, the part of the way they did that was a lot of the groundwork had been laid by the original Final Fantasy, where, you know, you'll notice the new things are all supplemental systems. Like they changed how character progression works. They added in the password system. But beyond that, you know, the combat was basically almost entirely the same. Oh yeah, they changed the way the magic works. That's like the big thing they did for combat was they changed the way the magic works. They added the second row, and they allow you to dual wield weapons. But the tile sets were all pretty much the same. You know, they had to design new maps, but all the tile sets were pretty much the same, with maybe a couple new ones. And stuff like that. Alright, we've got 4 doors. I think it's the one in the bottom left is the way forward, but I don't honestly know. So we're going to try them all. Marlboro Terra. Ooh, okay. Let's try attacking. See how well we do. So we faced fire, we faced ice. What do we have now? Is it more elemental stuff? I have no idea. This one might be wind? Land? I don't know. We've got basilisks. There we go. Alright, so here we go, I think over to the right. Didn't quite mean to do that, but I'll take it. Alright, we got Chimera here as a regular enemy now. Which is easily one-shotted. Okay, so this door, not where we need to go. We've got Devil's Bloom. We got ambushed. Uh-oh. So yeah, like I said, I know Furion had used just the fighter sprite, but I wonder about everybody else. Did Maria, did Guy, did they have distinct sprites? Did Maria would have had to, because they would have needed to show that she was a girl. You know, all the Final Fantasy 1 hero sprites were all ambiguous, I would say, you know, in their gender identity, in their sex. Yeah, they're a bit, you know, gender ambiguous. Oh, you don't have enough magic. To the point where I always kind of view the white mage as female, even though when you see the white wizard, you know, that ambiguity is a little bit lost. Same with the black mage. You know, the black mage hidden underneath its, you know, hidden in his cloak and under his hat, you never actually know if the black mage is supposed to be male or female. But then that hood, you know, that hat gets removed for the black wizard, and it looks distinctly more masculine. But there's still, you know, there's you know, little sprites. There's still some, you know, gender ambiguity there. There's nothing obviously masculine or feminine about the white wizard or black wizard, even the red wizard. You know? Alright, nothing in there. But Final Fantasy II, because you have distinct characters, you know, Final Fantasy 1, the Warriors of Light were all blank slates. You could make of them what you wanted. Final Fantasy 2, they're all distinct characters. Yes, you can rename them at the beginning. You know, you can rename your main group in the beginning, but they are still distinct characters with histories, with personalities, and so on. Let's just do attack. Let's do thunder, and let's do fire and attack. You know, to the point that you have various different NPCs coming through. You know, Maria is female. Layla is female. Everybody else we've seen, you know, that's been in our party has been male. So I'm curious to see what it was like back then on the Famicom. So I need to play the Famicom version at some point. Not right now, but at some point. Fire. And not right now. After Final Fantasy 2, we'll probably be taking another break from Final Fantasy. We're not going to jump right into Final Fantasy 3. I'm debating on whether or not I want to go back to Quake immediately, or if I want to play something else. Alright. Yeah, I still need to play Commander Keen at some point. I did mention that during my Quake playthrough. Alright. I think we're good. So we got a wizard staff, although we don't have anybody who uses those. But it might be able to be used as an item in combat. Yeah, cast Scourge when used in battle. But we don't really need to worry about that. There's no point to that. Alright, so maybe since there's undead here, maybe this is Earth-based. These floors. We already did fire and ice. You know, ice being basically water. You know, most Final Fantasy games, most games in general, water and ice kind of get lumped together. But there are some that make them distinct. Like, you know, I mentioned a couple videos ago how, you know, Final Fantasy X, there's 4 elements. Fire, ice, water, and lightning. You know, thunder. So they're, you know, water and ice are distinct there. But they aren't always. Alright, so we've got 4 doors and a bunch of chests. Final Fantasy 14 also distinguishes between them. There's 6 elements there. Fire, ice, earth, wind, water, and lightning. Where again, they're all, it's 3 diametrically opposed. 3 diametrically opposed pairs. Final Fantasy 16 also has ice and water as separate elements. Beyond that, I'm not sure if I know there are others. I'm just not remembering them off the top of my head. Because quite often Final Fantasy will default to, the 3 main ones, especially for spells, are fire, water, and ice. That's been that way since the very beginning, since Final Fantasy 1. And so, very rarely do we get like separate water spells. Alright, let's try Thunder. Let's try Fire. Let's attack and let's attack. Damn, that red soul is going to survive this round. Possibly the next one, too. All right. All right, magic. Let's do fire. 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 And attack. I was really hoping Rickard would get his attack off first. Because we keep healing this red soul. You might heal it to the point where he can't defeat it this round. But these black flames should be gone after Firion here. There we go. Good, good, good. Alright, magic. Let's do Maria. Asuna. There we go. Thank you. Alright, what do we got? What do we got? Okay, let's try this door. Okay, so nothing. Always gotta check behind all the doors, just in case there's some treasure. There we go. Alright, what do we got up over here? Besides some more enemies we don't really need to be fighting right now. Very easily done. Alright. So we got some Hermes shoes. That'll cast haste. Nothing in here either. Alright, so only one more door to check. There we go. Got a unicorn horn. And that was the last one on here. There's only 4 chests left. So maybe it is just fire and ice in here. No other elements. I would think there would at least be a thunder-based one. Okay, can Asuna work on stone? I'm not sure. I know Gold Needle works. We'll have to see. No, it does not. At least not at this level. Uh-oh. We got blinded. Blinded by the light. Alright, deal with these guys real quick. Then we can fix that with a gold needle. Or try Asuna or Basuna outside of combat. See if maybe that works a little bit better. Alright, Asuna. There we go. So yeah, that does not work. Basuna won't work either. Basuna only works in combat. Because it cures status ailments that wear off after battle. Okay. Oh, that's... Maybe that's how I could have gotten rid of the confusion. Okay. I'll have to remember that for next time. Holy's getting close to level 7, though. I need to start using that again. Well, in that case, all I can do is use a gold needle. Alright. Nope. We have another one here. You made good progress, but you must defeat me if you wish to continue your ascent. So it wasn't just the two. Oh, this one's probably thunder-based. Lightning-based. Yeah, Thunder Gigas. I doubt there's going to be a fourth one then. Because again, this is the same elements from our spells. There's only like 3 elemental spells. Alright, in that case, Blink, Protect, Haste, and Attack. Could have healed, should have healed. Oh well. Next time. Damn, that's like nothing. Oh, that's a big hit. Okay. Enhances effectiveness against various enemy types. Let's try Aura. Why not? And I want you to do a shell. You to do Berserk, and then you attack again. Yeah, just spend a round or two buffing the party. Oh, that was a big hit. Okay. Let's do Cure on the party. Attack, attack. Alright, my best bet might be magic. I'm not sure. I wasn't really paying attention to how well Furion hit that time. But I know Rickard still is not hitting very well. Cure again. Yeah, Rickard does like nothing. Guy not doing too great either. So yeah, I think I need to switch to magic. Physical attacks not doing anything. Alright, let's try fire. Let's try Cure just on you. Let's try Blizzard and attack. Because it's all Rickard. Well, I've got items he can probably use. Not doing too much with magic either. So that's not good. Boulder's 9. Ooh. That wasn't so bad. Alright. No, let's keep you on Cure. Items. Since I have a whole bunch here. Horn to Cure status ailments wear off after battle. Reduce the number of attacks. That's the same effect as slow. Why not? Let's go ahead and use it. Slow 9, but it missed, of course. Really not doing much. Alright, attack, attack, attack. Items. Conch Shell. Betrayal Fang. Yeah, let's try confusing him. Or not. He's gone. Okay. He's been defeated. I wonder if there's a 4th Gigas. Or if it really is just 3. We'll find out. Okay, Shell leveled up. Haste leveled up. Good. And Guy just cracked 3,000 HP. Alright, everybody's health is back up. Onward we go. Alright. So many doors. I don't know which way is the way forward. But there's a treasure chest way at the end. One of only 4 remaining. Alrighty. Not bad. Alright, that is not the way forward. Deal with the Devil's Bloom. Ah! We've been confused and poisoned. The confusion already wore off, though, it looks like. We've been poisoned. Thankfully, this is the kind that, you know, disappears after battle. Alright. Bunch of specters and wraiths. There we go. Okay, on this side we've got nothing. Except a whole bunch of vampire girls. There we go. Alright, continue forward and up and over. No! No! Oh, fuck me. Thank God for that. Alright, gold needle. Gold needle. The last thing I need is to get the entire party stoned. Because that's like an instant game over. Now granted, we do have the autosave, so that would help. But it's better to be safe than sorry. Alright, oh, Rickard is stoned again. There we go. Good, good, good. Perfect. That's what I like to see. Alright, in this door is nothing. 4 more basilisks. There we go. Alright, let's try over this side. One of these is going to be the way forward. I just don't know which one. Ah, no, Rickard's been confused. I don't think it really matters. This fight's over anyways. There we go. Alright, not this door. How many are left? Oh, just 2? Okay. So we'll try the last one on the other side. Then we'll get the treasure chest and then the very last one entirely. Which may end up being the correct door to move forward. There we go. We got ambushed by imps. I believe imps replaced the gargoyles from Final Fantasy 1. They're gray and they've got wings and horns, so... and a tail. So I think that was the case. Confused 16, no! Alright, let's try Basuna. And attack, attack. Basuna 1 missed. I could try Isuna, but I don't think it matters anymore. Alright, I do need... no, not equip. Magic. There we go, Isuna on Rickard.